Hello everybody. I'm Gabriel from ARCHLOGBOOK, and today we have a special guest, a fellow content creator in architecture as well, Baran. Hey, say hi, Baran.
Hey, hello everybody,
How are
and
you?
thanks for having me. By the way,
Mm,
Gabriel, it's been a long time. I've been following and searching your podcast. I guess it's the season two,
Yes.
and season was joyful to watch, especially the series with those content creators too. I'm really happy to be involved here.
Yeah, so Baran is the content creator behind Arkitolks. It's a
Hmm.
pretty interesting and new venture that he has been embarking on, and I've been following his journey ever since. And yeah, it's really a great pleasure for me to have him here today to discuss more about his journey and why he started Architalks, and maybe dive a little bit into content creation and the more technical side of things,
Hmm.
especially for those like if you're listening, if you are a graduate or even if you are a architectural designer trying to go into building your online presence, and also to
Hmm.
see how can you use social media as your tool to maybe market yourself or to showcase your own personality. Yeah, I think we'll dive into that. But so basically, I wanted to start by actually, for those who do not know you, yeah, I think for a
Yeah.
brief introduction of yourself and to share more about why I started Architects.
So first of all, I'm an architect, graduated in 2020, so it's been almost 2 years of working experience. First year, I worked mostly in renovation of a hotel. I'm based in Turkey, by the way. I'm from Turkey, and this hotel worked. I worked as a field architect, as a also renovator, and I used mostly BIM tools. For example, like Revit and some mockups I did, some like there are a lot of things I handled. Also quantity and quality surveying. Those are the things I did. And this year, we my father is also civil engineer, so we decided that maybe we could open a company which can be a design and build company, and it's called Arkea, but it's like it's just still the beginning of it. And for this Architalks particularly, I had this thought and experience from the beginning of my school life, which I could say, like there needs to be a platform. There is already have been so many platforms. I've seen many, but to make it more entertaining and let's say create something for everybody. Let's say not just us as architects, but design could serve everybody in the universe, in the world, let's say. So anything that could let's say consumable, let's
Mhm.
say, and enhanced by also other designers too, maybe, who knows. I wanted to create a community, and like this is the platform right now. I'm building on it. So yeah, that's like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think having a dad who is in a slightly different discipline, but still in the same kind of industry, and then working together
Hmm.
is quite
Yeah.
a good coincidence, I guess. Yeah, I think
Kind of,
how
yeah.
is it actually to work? I mean, so far, like in this short period of time, like
Hmm.
working with your dad.
It's not that easy to work with a civil engineer. You might guess, like we approach things more aesthetically and artistically in the same way we do them, also structurally, but they more carry about how strong, how sufficient is the building. So when it comes to aesthetic, they let alone all the beauty and just try to focus on instead of economic concerns of it. But most of the time we try to agree, but we kind of,
There will
let's
always be
say, we
some sort of
stand
conflict, right? Like it's a
yeah,
very
for sure,
common
like
debate between an engineer and an architect. But I guess it's
it's
all for the
fun.
best. Yeah.
It's fun actually, because sometimes I do show my designs to them. I mean,
Hmm.
for sure he's the more experienced one, and like he has the formation to know, like, to do things, let's say, in more let's say optimally,
Hmm.
for example, the dimensions of the rooms, let's say when I design a room, like I can imagine something different and conceptual or genuine maybe, but he more like, oh, this is the dimension, you should work on it, like
Mm.
280 centimeters is not enough, like go for 300, or like 315. I'm like, no, there is a concept, you can work on it. And these types of discussion just but we get along at the end of the day.
I think it's kind of the simple, the most very detailed things that they look at. But for us, we look at the bigger
Hmm.
picture. We see other things that the engineer doesn't see. Yeah, so I thought it's pretty cool to work with them. Like especially if a family member is in that same
Yeah,
industry, but
exactly.
with a different perspective. Yeah, so I wanted to
Because
go.
it's like when you do design, for sure, it's like how can I say, all the disciplines needs to be involved in the design. Like
Mm,
the most problematic area in Turkey, I don't know, it's similar in other countries, but when we design, we create a let's say certain type of asset on our minds, which we could put it on the paper, and
mm,
everybody needs to be involved somehow and give you a hand. Not like, oh, you can't do this, like technically it's not possible. So most of the time technical issues just comes over and over and over. When they just collected more and more, you become to have a very very simpler design than what you've imagined in the future, in the past. But in another way, I hope if everybody gives you a hand, which you could really stand out and, I don't know, actualize your design idea initially, that that way maybe our world could be more like architecturally aesthetic.
Actually, it's a very interesting point. So if you say everybody holds each other's hand, right? I think
Yeah.
even for us, when we start with architecture school, we don't really interact with engineers or even
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
mechanical, structural, electrical. Yeah, so
Definitely.
all these people only come into play when we actually work on real projects. And then we start to realize there's a lot of real constraints. And I think even
Mm-hmm.
for myself, I think I've grown so much in terms of technical knowledge and also how I coordinate with people like with a different view and different motive, but still want the building to be functional and they have their own separate criterias and a lot of different constraints and then comes into play and then we all try our best to maybe give and take. Yeah, so that is
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I actually learned through my experience so far and I really kind of enjoy in a sense. Yeah, and I mean in school it was quite like in studio it's basically yourself and the prof and then maybe like on some group projects maybe is between peers in the same
Mm-hmm.
architectural school. So once you step out for myself, I felt that I was a bit lost. Like, how do I, how am I supposed to maybe convince an engineer to,
Exactly.
hey, I need this particular column size, I need this space, and I need maybe you
Uh,
can't lower the step anymore. My headroom is a problem. So a lot of these things that
yeah,
come into play.
definitely.
Yeah, I think
Like,
for graduates especially, I think it's a very challenging but also exciting journey to take. I think um, I wouldn't. I mean, as I look back, I feel that I really
mm-hmm,
enjoy
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
learning all the ways to convince, the ways to give and take, and to enjoy the collaborative process that
Yeah,
was missing in
collaborative
school.
process for
Yeah.
sure. Interactive discussions, and you get to learn from people. Especially, like, the hardest part would be, they always say, like, you're the initiating phase of the design, right? Like, as
Mm.
we architects, they say, oh, you should know from little of everything. So it's like you should know about little bit electricity, mechanical plans, and some statics, because anytime you put a room or like stuff, I hope maybe one day there would be some kind of, let's say, startup or investment which we could really get together somehow, some way, really quickly, be initiating the design as, like, on the spot. Well, I just had an idea, design it, I put it on the paper, and then like show it to other disciplines, and then they say, okay, keep on process on that one.
Mm.
That would really enhance, I think, the process, I believe.
Actually, I'm sure after having maybe multiple years of experience working with engineers, you're able to understand their constraints already. So for myself, I kind of been more familiar with like maybe how do you ensure maybe certain mechanical systems are placed in the correct manner such that there's no short circuiting, for example, for the ventilation. But these kind of things we never got to learn in school. But I guess architecture, like what you said, is a jack of all trades. Right? We do have to learn a bit of everything. And that is
Mhm,
how
bit of
how it
everything.
has been always, and there are pros and cons about that, right? Like let's we don't get specialized in something Yeah, and then it may seem that we may be undervalued because we don't have any specialty, but we do have a lot of different a lot of ideas. We're more creative, but maybe not too technical in everything. But then again, that's the point of an architect being at the helm of the project, because he's the one who see
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, and I think that is the challenging but also exciting prospect of an architect. Like why do we do what we do? Because we
Mhm.
and why must we learn the ways of like engineers? How do they think? And we can't just be on our own, our own mindset, and we have to be open to different
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah. So speaking of learning quickly and learning fast, right? I think you began on your journey to start ARCHITOLKS, and I'm sure you learned quite a lot of things. Maybe you want to share a bit more about that journey, like starting it, and maybe things you've learned
Uh-huh.
throughout it.
So it's like a lot of background of it. I
Yeah, I
can
can just
like
share. It's
you
okay.
can
No
also
worries.
tell. I think because as content creators, like there's always the background. Like
Mm,
the end result is not like the shows the frustration itself. Most of the time, it's like people just see the end result, but like there's just behind before like there's researching part,
mm,
showing your like let's say uh trying to define your positioning in the market and market analysis, all the stuff that goes on because you have something on your mind for sure, you believe that it values, but how do you really realize it and actualize it, and how is the process of it, and throughout the years maybe, because we as young generations, I believe, we tend to be so let's say we expect things to happen so fast.
mm,
We are like a little bit more impatient than our ancestors, I would say, because time is changing so fast. And that's why it's like there was a mindset part at the beginning. I just convinced myself that okay, I'm going to make this one for a long, long time. It's going to maybe be my job or be a community. So it's okay if you can't just all the time focus on that, but you just need to keep having that. Just small
mm,
steps, but don't really quit. First thing was to really convince myself, maybe give myself some tasks, like let's say some gaps, thinking gaps, mind gaps, like in between 2 3 days, which I also shared this one actually on the first video of my YouTube. That was my it was both in English and Turkish, and in English one was like 2022 goals. So it's like sharing those 9 posts, mission for each month, which I'll come back to that later. So that like that set of tasks and like time zoning at the beginning was the most important thing. At the beginning, I just thought, okay, let me just throw some stuff that I did, like let's say created, designed, and on the beginning was like just see the reaction of the society, how the algorithm works, how Instagram just gives you feedbacks, and like try different certain reels or like carousels, storytelling and everything. Just share the things you like and then see the responses. Then there are like different types and ways of sharing, right? For sure. Because let's say you have an idea, you have a picture in your mind. How you share it is like hundreds and thousands of way. You can create a huge one word which fully impactful. Just say it, and then when you swipe, you can see the rest, or you can just show up on the camera, start speaking on reels. Like there are like hundreds and different types of designs, backgrounds of it. So now it's like the positioning and the decision part,
mm,
which what thing is the best, because I believe like there are like 4 or 5 phases of marketing. Like you have, first you need to begin with your market research and positioning, and then like you skyrocket what you really like seek out and filter from all that information. Now I'm like almost kind of decided my own way, because like I do really like this that's why I started like this 9 post mission, because when you first click on it, like the page, I want this to be eye catchy to
mm,
everybody, let's say. Like they will say, oh, this is something different here, like something going on. Because as we as architects, I do believe still we are able to do logo designs, digital marketing, any type of like content creation. We know how to present stuff because we're good at that. I
Yeah, like
mean,
me, we
so
specialize in like typography and layout design. So I
so I
guess
just
those type of basics can actually be
like
transferable, right?
definitely, and
Yeah.
that part combines with the my passion for the future, like what's gonna happen newly in design and those offices worlds and everything.
Mm.
When it's like when those two combined, I said like, okay, maybe it should be a harmony of those two. So that's how it goes for now.
Mm. Yeah, I think pretty similar journey. I mean, for me as well. I think at the start it was more about to post things that I wanted to share, and it wasn't
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
a particular direction or an ulterior motive yet. Like there's no not. It was still a part time, like a passion project kind of idea. So I like
Hmm.
as you know, I'm currently working at a day job at Sabana Jurong in Singapore. So that is quite time consuming on the day job part. But
For
in
sure.
the night time and the weekends, that's what I do. I share content,
When you have the
educational.
motivation.
That was it. Initially, it
For
was
sure.
more of the technical side only. Like I shared a lot of one slide post or maybe like a simple diagram or certain concepts of maybe compliance or even detailing, and then it progressed very quickly into like a 10 slide post carousel of like a deep dive into uh what mass engineered timber, for example, or maybe even site planning. Oh, and then I think that was the second stage. Maybe and then now it's a bit like what you went through, like deciding what to do. So for me, it's also more about uh, I think my overarching mission is actually to
Hmm.
to help increase the clarity and confidence in designers. That is my
Yeah.
overall statement. So whatever I do, I try to make sure that my my venture, maybe like in YouTube, in podcasting,
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
Instagram, and my
Now
blog
you're more
posts,
clear.
they're all aligned to that common statement, that vision statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that is what is currently guiding me in doing what I do, and that also
Hmm.
makes me feel kind of assured, like I'm
Hmm.
doing the right thing, and it may not be the best, like it's maybe the podcast won't be
Yeah, for
like
sure.
the
You
best,
never
but
know.
I still want to try, and then I think that is my current
Yes.
motive to actually learn also and to enjoy this. For example, podcasting as a conversation with
Hmm.
people like you, right? I think that is
Yeah,
very,
exactly, man.
especially working in remotely. For myself, I work remotely. I work at site once in a while, but it's hard to, especially for architects, right? We don't really get to network like we outside of
It's
the
yeah.
firm, because we're all too busy and we are too tired to get hang out outside of office. So I see this as an opportunity to maybe put myself out there and to showcase more about my personality. So
No, what you
that
did is
has
huge,
been
I believe.
my journey, and yeah, in a nutshell, it's inspired. It's probably what inspires like content creators like you as well. Like you see how we all progressing, and I think that is the beauty of sharing in this kind of setting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one day, who knows, somebody will see it, some architect or designer, and they be like, oh, like those two are like have these motives and stuff they were doing before, and then like this could inspire others too in the future. And I do believe like very similarly. And I also do believe you should have, maybe you heard of that, like there's theory called Ikigai.
Oh
You
yes,
heard of
it's a
that?
very interesting
Like,
concept.
I mean, like what you like, how I also believe like what you create should need to somehow resonate with your character, you know?
Mm,
Like there are different types of characters, let's say, even when we design as architects too. For example, I'm more likely to be extrovert and I'm more likely to express and I'm more likely get to feel the energy when I'm around people, communities and talk to people. And that's why I feel like okay, social media is like my place to be, and when what the important thing is these days social media is things are happening superficially more than ever.
mm,
So you need to really maintain this sincerity in the same time, not just like oh simply clicking likes and buttons, but really seriously making friends and really talking to them. I think for that side, what you do is really important because we are eye to eye, even if it's online, but we're talking to each other and sharing ideas and insights. Not like 2 seconds of our energy, we're just clicking likes, but more likely really thinking about ideas and really contemplating on them, which I find really nice and cool. And that's why I'm thinking about doing this kind of something in the future too, as it's like talks. There's a story of actually why it's Architolks with O. I don't know if you if you're curious. I can tell you, like, there's a cool story for that one.
Yeah, please share with us. I mean, we have time.
Like this letter, not like A, this like O. So when I was in United States, I worked there for 3 months.
Mm.
I was a ride operator, those roller coasters, and you know, I mean, we have those accents of speaking English for sure. And me as a Turkish one, I believe that I'm almost like, when I speak, people are hardly ever to understand that, you had the accent, but not a Turkish one, but some kind of different area of United States. We don't know. And I said, like, how come? Like, how is that? Why is that? I had a one friend. She told me, we were talking to each other, and she told me, like, that's how you say talk, like talk. And then I'm like, we talking to each other. And then I thought, oh really? Like I use
I see where
like
this is
like
going.
really hard O's. Like normally, in American language, how was that? Like how should I say it? They're like talk, not like talk. So that slight difference made me like,
Mm.
okay, maybe it could be something from me, could be a bit genuine story. So that's why I did that. Yeah, I mean, fun story.
I mean, you managed to get rid of the copyright issue. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
like account names with Architolks with like
Definitely.
with the A,
Oh,
and you think you managed to
you
get.
can't really imagine.
I mean, it's still pronounced pretty similar to Architolks, but it's just with an O.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe like create
I
some
didn't expect
authenticity.
such a story, but it's quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny actually. Hilarious.
So also for that one, like this, that's the reason why like the entertaining side of it
Mm-hmm.
could really resonate with that. Like when people say like, oh, why it's like really weird, because every time I tell this to people, I'm like having so hard times to make them right, like not like with A, not what with C and H, like with K R key, and then like all the time it's trouble. But
Mm.
I don't really mind when people know. It doesn't really matter what you did. Like people know you, not like the name itself. It's
Mm.
just we see many different stuff on the on the world that resonates.
I think I've been looking at the content that you created as well, and it's quite entertaining is one thing, but it's also sharing of your own story, like why you do what you do,
Hmm.
and I think
Hmm.
that's really inspiring because especially now we are in this era in social media where authenticity is very important, and I think
Yeah.
it used to be very superficial, like in
Hmm.
more pictorial, more
Hmm.
still image kind of post, but it's progressing towards more organic and like more long form video content
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like podcasts, and then we can actually share more about ourselves, and that I think it is one of the most positive shifts that has been happening in social media, especially with the rise of TikTok, especially. So, like TikTok is like is very is is created by people like ordinary people, like the content wise, and it's very is in your face. This is me, and I'm here to share my story, and I think or even
Hmm.
share my
Hmm.
life and to share my parts of my
Yeah, your
journey.
presence
Yeah,
of
it's a
in
presence that is
society.
so interesting and is uniquely you. I think. I mean, for anybody who's listening, right? Especially you're considering to try sharing your story through YouTube or sharing your work and your journey. I think now is the best time because there's a lot of opportunities, especially in different platforms that favors like long form video content. I think, and it also doesn't need to be like production quality. I think it's also about like you just
Quantity.
need to do it and just take the pictures and the videos you want, and then
Hmm.
enjoy making the short video or the long video about your life and to share a story.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
now is the time that many people actually appreciate this kind of content. this, but that's also one part. But the other part is also entertaining, like making it funny, making it uh maybe interesting
Eye
to
catching,
learn,
yeah,
eye catching. Yeah, that
for
has
sure.
been, it is increasingly
It's like
becoming
on
more
point
relevant.
information, yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure, yeah, like
yeah.
short and on point information. But yeah, I mean, how can I say, is like also when you do those types of things, you realize the process itself too. You know, like
Mm,
you, this is how you share, and this is how you do. Like uh, this is what really can become eye catching. You realize that by yourself on the process. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I can share things on the process too. Like, because like there's things that I think in the background while I create stuff. Like I say,
mm.
okay, why? Okay, let me just share the things I thought behind, and then like share it also on the people. That's could make it more sincere. So yeah, it's good. TikTok. You should focus on TikTok more. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been creating because basically when I walk around maybe Singapore, for
Yeah,
example,
I saw your
yeah,
stuff.
I did
Like, yeah, you
I
keep an
did
eye on
post some videos.
details.
I took a little break because my
Hmm.
my phone died, and then TikTok, when it saves the drafts, it is gone. So I was like, oh no,
Oh my
can just curse,
god.
shit, that is
It's
horrible, and I
crazy.
just gave up like for like a few weeks. I mean, I do have some raw clips, like when I walk
Oh,
around, I
I
take
see.
videos of maybe things that I observed.
Uh-huh.
I haven't got the time, like, got down to actually creating more of those
Oh
sort of
my
videos. But I think
goodness,
it's doing
man.
very well actually. Like I think
It's like
looking through
architect's
looking
nightmare.
through my previous three I think TikToks. Actually it's TikToks, but I put it in IG Reels. TikTok is new, so I don't think people know me there. So I've actually repurposed it and put it into IG Reels. I think it's doing well on IG instead of TikTok for my case. Yeah, and I
Hmm.
think
Ah,
and
yeah.
people are following my account because of that. Yeah, I think that is, especially when
I'm,
Instagram is aggressively pushing for the video IG Reels content. Nowadays, there's no point in creating posts,
definitely, yeah,
carousel posts anymore because
definitely,
it
yeah.
it's so much more
It's
engaging
like
to
it's
use
really
video.
hard, definitely, like because it's easier to create videos for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
and to as a designer to design something as let's say like those carousels. Oh,
Mm,
that like invest so much time in them. Like it's you can imagine as a designer yourself too. Like like really like those puntos and pixels and stuff like
mm,
creating. I mean, but also in the same time, I do want people to see. I believe people realize details for sure.
mm,
Like we're smart enough to see everything, and when people see your content, they say, "Oh, he invested some time on it." Like there is some sauce, like some different character on it,
mm,
and he spends time. There is a really valuable information, and I always do crit with my, let's say, common friend, like not professional friends, which are not from the design area. I'm just showing them like, oh, this is exciting for you. Like, check out this post, and they be like, I mean, we're not related to design, but like, oh, this is something cool. What you design? I like this idea and stuff because, like, this is just a small amount of information. uh, I mean, I don't know, like how brain resonates with the design, how we see, how we
mm,
perceive. For example, just to give you information, everybody would wonder that type of thing. Like, I mean, those types of stuff still could, serve to everybody, I believe. But I think you're right. Like, sending videos and short forms and with a basic concept these days, I'll do more on that. I'll work more on that as as I finish this 9 post mission for sure.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think,
you're right.
yeah. So how what do you see, like this architects in the future? What's the direction you're gonna take?
I thought in the beginning, like that was also, I think there can be the size and genres of it. But
Mm,
firstly, I do really want to focus on people's maybe as a next stage to maybe very later in the end of the year, maybe who knows, or maybe even more, could help designers and architects to enhance their online presence.
mm,
Like first I need to create my own online presence
Yeah.
to really help them and to show them the ways. And before that also, like, to make this journey and process more entertaining, I would probably try to engage more people, especially, let's say, entertaining video casts, for example. Like, I'm collecting some friends and people. You're also will be the one of them too, in the one, like, in an entertaining way, for sure. I mean, I would like if you would be, for sure. And like, really make this process more entertaining, not like really frustrating, but more likely, let's say, shoot videos. Let's say I go outside, I choose each mini documentary to create something, to show everybody something beautiful. Not like very go too deep on the design and detailed fields and really frustrate people with all that parameters and technical, more vocational knowledge,
Mm.
instead of being like more in the cool side of it. And definitely one more thing too, the filmmaking and videography, this cinematography, those, I want those to be more involved. Maybe, like, maybe next Nine Post mission could turn something into a background of those videos, because people like to see process, they enjoy it a
Mm.
lot. You shoot something with a camera, and like somebody else shooting you while you shoot with the camera, it's like more engaging. They say, oh, like, people wonder. So this might help also on the filmmaking industry, and who knows. So those are the things I'm thinking about these days.
Yeah, actually, filmmaking is, especially if you want to, for, how do I say this, an architect's job scope is so broad and interesting, but not many people know what we do. Like,
Hmm.
imagine if someone follows an architect and the whole day and films his life and then compiles it to a very interesting film. I'll watch it, like maybe a more down to earth.
Compose it.
Like, I mean, there's a couple of films with like high profile architects, but how about the
Hmm.
architects of the common level? It's like the
Uh-huh.
ordinary architect,
Yeah. Not
not
very
not well known, but
crazy
also very
architects.
important and
Yeah.
should be highly valued. Yeah, I mean, if I don't mind someone filming my life, it can be a bit boring sometimes, but actually there's some interesting nuggets of like discussion and the process of like going to the site to see things and to observe and to argue
Yeah,
and to,
like,
yeah.
we have a I think, like, what we do is visually, really visually, let's say, remarkable, like,
Mm,
compared to other fields like engineering and stuff. I don't know if people just watch somebody who's going to factories and work with like, I don't know, machines, and just doing a simple calculating and engineering process. I don't think that would be more fun than ours, because ours is more like, we serve to people, humankind, and
mm,
we tend to do things visually more aesthetic. And the visual side of it could give you anything, any content you might need. So, as we can also see from the examples of YouTubers, like, I don't know, maybe 30 plus 40 design workshop,
yeah,
he's like, oh my god, he's like crazy, he's like the guru of YouTube. I do
he is,
like,
he
and
is.
I mean, especially in architecture, and like few examples along with that, it's like, wow. And I do believe still there's a need, like what you said, for example, a day in the life of a, I don't know, architect or cone, or something.
Mm,
And more in a, let's say, entertaining way still,
yeah.
because I still do believe, most of the time architects do tend to be more calm and subtle, like, not like very expressive. But my character is different, so maybe it could give a different approach to whole architectural side, and
Mm,
could engage the society and community more than, really, like, those people, like, they become on another level of society, where the really mediocre part couldn't really reach those ideas and mindsets of those artistic backgrounds, so those people most of the time they have a different microculture
Mm,
inside of their zone. But I do believe we need to serve every person. So why not we can make things more like common to everybody?
mm. So I think we have talked a lot about filmmaking and also the entertaining side of
Yeah.
architecture. I think I look forward to
Hmm.
seeing what you create.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah,
Me
and
too.
yeah, so maybe we would like to go a bit different direction for this conversation. So it's
Yeah.
more about uh maybe about you, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
maybe how about maybe when you have anything to share in terms of advice to like graduates who are just starting out, maybe
Hmm.
in an
Hmm.
industry. So m- was there anything you want to tell maybe your younger self?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
That'd be a pretty
Well,
cool
that's like nice. Like it's
thing to do.
it's a I it's I wasn't expecting, since like we're still young, to give this, but still like we have lived some life for sure.
Yeah, really.
So I mean, yeah, I would say as an also from business, we kind of businessmen too as a background. I learned from my father too to make it, like there's this business side of it too.
Mm,
Entrepreneuring at the beginning, I believe, it's really important, because you got nothing to lose at the beginning for sure. You should go out, discover, like don't be really temptive or like hesitating, because those years, still these years we live as young people, we don't have many responsibilities still. Like we don't have the like this is the time that you don't have to give paychecks to your workers, or have a wife or son or kids to like really feed and spend time on your place and stuff. You can still young and have energy, you can stay outside, or like get, even when you're not comfortable, you can resist on that one when you're young. And those times are really important, and to make value of it, definitely to go out, travel and explore. I've traveled 10 countries almost so far, and I'm still thinking about traveling to Singapore or Malaysia or any
oh, please
place.
come to Singapore. I'll be glad to invite you and
Ah,
walk around.
I'm glad, man. Like, I really love Singapore, by
My
the
door
way.
is
Like,
open. Yep.
anybody who's watching this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, just check out how Singapore is built. Like, if you're in design side, it's a really
Mm,
beautiful spot, and he's sharing things, like sharing the cities for sure. And you also have to, I'm talking about the people watching, like go out and explore. And especially as a designer, I'm just putting those community aside. Like, as you discover more, then you can have more library and knowledge to share. And even in terms of a wisdom too,
mm,
you may think of more globally, because people who are living locally, most of the time their ideas and mindsets are less likely to be widened, or horizon, their horizon is just like they're afraid to, they can't think of those extended imaginations. But when you discover, when you're globally aware, for sure, things different, things are, you feel like there's nothing can stand against you, because
mm.
like if you really know what you do and you know your way, no, nothing can stand on your way, because you do believe it's, you have it inside of you.
Yep.
So that's one thing, like really go for it, explore, create businesses, like create communities. Like, do we really pay anything, like literally, to create those types of stuff? Like very less money. Imagining those huge companies invest on crazy stuff. Like, we eat outside, we have fun and pay stuff, go to restaurants, but like just spare some of my money also to, like to explore and discover, like give, invest simple on a business, like create ARCHLOGBOOK, Arkitolks, I don't know, architecture, like to see the experience, even if it doesn't work. there is still, you will have an experience at the years of 24, 23, you know. So that would be my fundamental and prior advice.
I really love how you put it. With a lot of time, you have, I mean, you in terms of people listening, right? And if you are a young graduate with a lot of time, I think especially when you're young, no commitments in terms of like, I don't think you'll be married by now. So maybe you're still in
Definitely.
early stage
I'm
dating, you know. So
lucky enough.
I would tell my younger self, like, I think, I mean, looking back, I also would tell my younger self that, you know, you have a lot of time to create. I think that is very important, as most of the time we always
Hmm.
consume things. We consume digital media, social media, but the time can be spent to create things that you personally you can control. It's your own baby, your own toy to play with,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and yeah, I mean, I no regrets in creating what our book is today. But if I didn't had that courage, and also maybe that curiosity, and also, you know, that
Drive, yeah.
the drive, and also love for like not say love for failure, but I'm okay with failure. Like, and just need to pivot maybe certain directions. You know, it's a slight
Yeah.
tweak, yeah, and maybe you know that that is what I am called to do. Yeah, right? And I think that was one of the highlights of my life. I think that is currently creating a lot of book is also
I would
uh
like to hear,
is
yeah.
a good journey. Yeah, and so creating things that you enjoy. I mean, apart from, I mean, ideally your day job fulfills that, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes we may not totally have that creative control, or maybe we want to do certain things, we want to try new things apart from the day job. So that, I would say, is the number one reason why you should spend some time outside of work to pursue something that you enjoy. And it may not be even related to architecture. It can be like filmmaking. It can be even, you know, go cycling. Yeah, and
Yeah.
making a sport,
I
joining a
That's a
sports.
nice point. Really cool point you made. Like,
Yeah,
this
so
life is not all about design and
yeah,
architecture.
I
Like, there are
also
different
highly
things.
encourage, if you're listening, like especially young graduates or young designers, right? I
Hmm.
think is to pursue time to rest, and to also to learn new things apart from
Yeah.
architecture.
Network,
To detach from
socialize.
it before maybe like one day, a few
Hmm.
hours per day, and
Yeah.
go watch YouTube videos of other things. Watch
Go
Netflix.
watch, yeah, go watch Netflix.
Yeah,
Definitely. Like, not watch
yeah.
Architolks for a moment, or like
Watch Arkitolks
Clockbook, but
for a short while, and then, you know,
but for later. Not like design. Go away from design totally. Yeah.
yeah,
Really.
that is my,
Yeah.
also I think also my number two advice, right? It's actually to,
Number two. Yeah.
yeah, number one is to pursue it, to create things you love and to
Yeah.
do. Number two is take some time out and to
And
detox.
like, I kind of like that remind me of something when you say the second one is, we had those. I also want to mention that one. I'll maybe one day in YouTube I'll be sharing this too, and it's about the programs that you can enroll in when you're a student. You know,
Mm,
like, people always just mislead, or like they dodge those programs while you're just like too, let's say, um too, what is it called, that word in English? I'm getting forget. Like, too lazy to think of all those applications, like sign up papers and stuff. Like, those opportunities could change your life. I
mm,
enrolled to two of them, and one was work and travel program, and that helped me to visit and travel United States without really literally paying nothing, because I worked there for 3 months and paid the rest of the money I afford to go there, and then traveled. Experience that was a huge experience. Then came back, and then I went to program of Erasmus. Maybe you heard that one. I don't know what it's called. It's a common thing in Europe and Asia. Some countries in Asia too, in Russia, Slavic countries too. And this is the listeners from Europe. They would surely know Erasmus. And this student exchange program is like, you can go to another university for a half of a year, or maybe a whole semester, and you really spend unforgettable moments. You might even learn the language. I spent my 1 year in Italy, and that was also architecturally,
Mm.
you get to see different schools approach to architecture and design. This is like huge. It's like very important, like how they, I can compare with my school in Turkey and school in Italy, how they approach architecture. And I don't know, like the people's attitude and students attitude towards design and architecture, to experience those, and being inside those Erasmus student exchange communities and engaging with lots of people from different nations. I mean, imagine yourself, you do a podcast with peoples like us, and we're all together in
Yeah.
a same day, in the same moment, in the same table. I don't know, we go for surfing all together, you know? So this might be a cool, really fruitful experience for
Mm.
all of us to enhance. But I luckily had that one because of the programs. I really encourage all the students, master graduates or like PhDs. They all can. There are like many programs they can do and make. Just go, like, sign the papers and stuff. You pay little money and they afford for you everything. Try really hard to find those ones. It's really important, I think. Apart from design industry, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. So yeah, I think that's all the time we have for today. I really had such a great conversation with you, Baran. Yeah.
Definitely, me too. I mean,
Yeah, I think
I'm
to more collaborations in future, and also I hope to
Mhm.
see your videos about
soon,
architectural
for sure,
life.
it's coming.
I want
Like,
to see
I
the entertaining
mean,
part of it.
maybe one day, who knows? Like, we create something for Netflix all together.
Yeah,
Like, we
yeah.
work on that one, because like that was also one of my ultimate goals. You know, like to give something to the one of those channels, really something sufficient, because everybody watch Netflix, right?
Hmm.
Imagine something very, something that could be from our industry, and there are series of it, and you people can tangle up and watch, and our job can be something like, can be the star of that time. So supply and demand would totally change. But and ultimately, you do what you like and you enjoy and making money from it.
Yeah, I think actually a Netflix series idea could be like something
Something.
either thought provoking or emotional.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think
I
these
know.
two are. I mean, from what I see in documentaries, like maybe like about people's lives, and
Hmm.
maybe entertaining, thought provoking, or emotional. Like I think these
Yeah,
three,
like
as long
you
you
see.
hit one of these three emotional magnets
Hmm,
of
hmm.
for the audience, I think that could be a start for all of us.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I just
Instead, you start
that
documenting all your ideas for Netflix. Put it at the start, Netflix ideas. Then you just
definitely,
create
yeah.
your own perspective on the architect's
That's
life.
why, definitely, like architect's life, or mini, like really the documentaries about aesthetics and design, like those
Mm,
terms could also work. And first, like, it's just about keep creating and collecting, I think, information and
yeah,
idea. And second, who knows what's gonna happen. But for yeah, as the last words you want me to mention.
yeah. And anything else you wanted to share before we go?
I what can I say is, like, I really appreciate your for you to like hosting me and inviting me to this platform, ARCHLOGBOOK, and I hope we do collaborate in the future too, and to get to know each other. Who knows? Like, we create a meeting of like your guests and you, all of us together one day,
Sure.
and I really look forward to talk, give you help you, and like, let's say, interact with you more in the future. And I don't know. That's it. How can I
Yeah,
say?
that's good enough, I guess. Yeah, I look forward to working with you as well. I think currently I'm pretty swamped with a lot of things, so maybe next year
Yeah.
could be it's a year where
Me
I
too.
really dive into it because I'm currently studying for my licensure, so that is taking a lot of my time as well. So
Oh yeah.
the community building aspect, I think, is gonna happen next year for all of
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
least, yeah.
I'm sure.
So
But
yeah,
now,
I
like,
mean,
you're on the steps, like you're collecting some podcasts and stuff, which is really good. Like, it keeps you on the road, keeps you on the
yeah,
track. So one day I'll for sure I need to start this one too. For one day, like
and then you can invite
as
me as a
soon as
guest.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you'll be my guest for sure, definitely, man.
All right. Okay.
And
Thank you so
yeah,
much. Yep. Take care.
really, you too. Have fun and have a wonderful creative day.